Hey guys, it's me, my face, and so many things. If you're new here, my name is Andrea, and this is a channel about cross-stitch and drinking and cats and opinions and other crafts and speculation about doing other crafts but never actually doing them, and then probably more drinking and opinions. They seem to follow one another. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back. I missed filming last week. I don't remember why. Things blur together. We're here now. We're here now. And oh my, the things we have. Let's just jump straight in with the stitching. The first thing I worked on is my Prairie schooler. This is double. And I have made some darn good progress. As I mentioned, I think the last time we talked about this one, I'm off somewhere over here. So I came back in from this side and got her in and managed to finish off the cauldron. So really, I just want to finish all around and then fill her in, and I can fudge anything I need to fudge. There's a lot of stitching in this one. I don't think I realized. I never realized. I've been doing 1/1 for how long now? But however big you think it is, just double it for the amount of stitching that you're going to do. That black dress alone took like a week. The next thing I worked on is Teresa Kogut. This is United We Stand. I am in love with this. Look at that dress. The dress is no joke. But I actually, I'm not going to say I figured something out. I figured something out is what I did. For something this big of an area being stitched in DMC, I would usually just go back and forth, half crosses coming this way, half crosses going that way. No big deal. But I find that I'm a little faster on the first leg, which I do like top right to bottom left. And so when I was coming back, it was like coming back was taking much longer because I think I was coming into occupied holes and things like that. So what I did is I would stitch normally this way and then turn 45 degrees and stitch it again, either up or down, depending on where I had left off. And that went faster. It took a little bit to train my brain to do it in a way that my crosses all now, still lay the same way. But once I did, that came together fast. I was pretty impressed. In fact, the only reason I stopped on the copper was just I couldn't handle another length of copper. I had to move over to the blue or else I was going to go screaming into the night. But hopefully this means that things with big blocks of color, I can stitch a little faster now. We'll see. The next thing I worked on is from Bendy Stitchy Designs. This is the Roladex Mourning sampler. And I went gangbusters. You guys. I finished the entire willow tree. I've got 3/4 of the border done. The only thing I think I really have left to fill in after that border there's, a bunch of these little stars kind of scattered about. But otherwise, she's almost done. There's like an end in sight. And not because I was tired of stitching on it, but because I want to get this thing up somewhere. I think I'm going to have this one framed. Or I'm going to try to frame it. Or something. We talked about frames last time. The box isn't open. Sorry. Also, this is my prerequisite Bernie Sanders needle minder. So cute. I got him from, this is Space Cat Crafting on Etsy. Let's see if I can, there we go. So cute. I ordered this one, and I think there is another needle minder on another project from her. I also got a set for my sister. If I edited there, it's a sneeze. So I got a set for my sister as well. She has actually just finished her, I won't say her first cross stitch pattern, but like her first recent pattern, or, you know, in her resurgence of stitching, she has finished her first pattern. She did, yeah, it's here. You're looking at it. It's a blackbird calling dead of night. It's totally my jam. But yeah, she finished it, and she finished it fast. So maybe I can get her to move on to something more challenging that we can do together. Stitch along. She still hasn't found my channel that I know of. Don't hold out on me. The next thing I worked on is the Linens and Threads mystery sampler, we'll just call it. I think I'm done. I really, this particular motif is just kicking my butt. I know I can move on because I have all the pieces. I kind of don't want to. I don't know. I've put a lot of work into it so far, and I like it. And usually, like, I will start stitching on it, and I'm like hating it. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, well, I must not have hated it too much because I'm 2 hours in and I made some progress. So last night I filled in, I think, what was left of this flower, and I came over here and then I started the one on this side. So I don't know. I think I might finish this motif and then decide if this is maybe not a give up, but pack it away for a while and maybe bring it out when it looks kind of new to me again. I don't know. The next thing I worked on is from HAED. This is my moon hare. And I made a bunny ear. I was getting kind of tired of all those purples and blues, so I figured I would focus in on his little brown bunny ear. And it's the cutest little brown bunny ear in the universe. But I actually made like kind of progress that you can see. And I like working on this. I really like working on it. The problem is that I have to work on it when I'm not trying to pay attention to much else. Because even though Pattern Keeper makes this so much easier, I still get a little lost in, you know, because I just kind of, I keep going with the same color as long as I can go. I'm not doing in little blocks or squares. Parking, I understand it, but I don't want to do it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just have to pay kind of close attention to this as I'm doing it. But it was good to see some progress that you really can see. Maybe this coming week I can fill in a little more of like the dead zone here, so that as I build across, I can build off of those things and pick up some more colors, because I think the more colors that I can jump to, a little more interesting it will be. This is the other needle minder that I got from Space Cat Crafting. Love me a little crescent moon. I got the purple one, gave my sister a blue one. Worked out nice. The last piece that I worked on is Death by Cross Stitch. This is from Long Dog Samplers. And I made progress right here, bringing down this little strip, which I tell you, it took me longer than I thought. I really was kind of leaving that because I figured that would just whip up quickly. It did not. It did not whip up quickly. Maybe I was distracted. Maybe I was watching TV. I don't know. But yeah, it took me like a whole night to just extend that. I think 3 more hearts and then just this empty one here. But hey, every little bit of progress is a little bit of progress. I know I had mentioned, I think last time, getting over to here to try to get the black portions there done. That's what I thought I was doing. I was going to bring down this strip and then work across, and I never got there. So maybe this week. Everything is maybe this week or next week. something like that. So that is all the actual stitching I did this week, or the past 2 weeks. One thing that I did learn, and I will put up the name of the person who mentioned it in my comments because I forgot to write down your name. Apologies. She pointed me to videos from Jean Farish, who I think I knew the name, but wasn't really familiar. Like, I wasn't really familiar with why I should watch her. And for probably weeks, this video had been coming up in my homepage for the nun stitch. And not knowing what a nun stitch was, I was kind of ignoring it and just flipping by the video every time. But when Alert Viewer pointed me towards this video and I watched it, I realized I could have been learning something. I learned the nun stitch. This is handy, especially if you're going to use a stitching journal, in my opinion. Did I do it correctly the first time out? No. I mean, the stitch is correct, but I am woefully off center, but that's fine. That's how we learn. So basically it is just like an edging stitch, and I'm going to try to get it. There we go. That you go all around your stitching, and then when you cut, it holds the edges in. Now, I mean, obviously you could do this with satin stitches, you can do it with zigzags and things like that, but I just thought this little stitch was so simple, and so it was meditative to do. And also I did this on, this is one of those, it was a 28 count even weave before I got my hands on it, and now it's like 30 something and there's no gaps whatsoever. But I guess this is usually a pulled thread process. So when you watch Jean do it, you know, she's pulling it a little tight and it's making these little gathers, and it makes the edge look kind of lacy. And the way she did it was, you know, with the thread from the linen she was working on. So it kind of blended, and it looks so nice. I love the way it looked. I decided to do it with a contrasting thread, one, because it was my first time doing it, so I wanted to be able to see what I was doing. But I also think it leaves kind of a nice edge on it. So this is ready for the Stitchy journal. It's not going to unravel or anything like that. So I got, and this is only temporary, I got out the stitching journal that I bought ages ago and haven't started using yet. And it comes with a little plastic packet, and you scooch it into, I said scooch it, into the front. This is not going to be even, but that's okay, because this is just for demonstration purposes. And so right now she's my cover. She's my cover girl. But I can put decorative fabric behind her. I could put decorative paper. I could do whatever I want behind her. Don't necessarily need to have her as the cover girl. I could stitch something that says like Stitching Journal 2021 through whatever, and have that there. I didn't realize, I think I probably realized that I had bought the one with the ribbon. I'm not sure how I feel about the ribbon. I may like it once this thing starts getting chunky, to hold it shut. But this is just a plain, like a, you know, plain black page photo album. I will link it below, affiliate link. Subtle. Just in case you want to check it out. I think I see myself actually being able to do a Stitchy journal, like in a way that won't freak me out, because you know how I get freaked out. I think what I want to do, though, is the first pieces I want to put in there are the Prairie Schoolers, but I have to think about how I want to lay them out and everything. But that gives me some time to do the little nun stitch all around the edges. How cute would it be with a variegated thread? So I have a thing. So thank you, kind person, whose name I forgot to write down, for pointing me in that direction, because I was willfully ignoring that information. That was bad on me. Time to drink. I do have some more haul. I already showed you the needle minders, but I also got my nest egg from 3 Owl Threads. These are classic Colorworks. And just to run through them quickly, we've got Hare, Hollyberry, which isn't really that pink. Why do I keep saying that? We all know about the whole color thing. This is just for me to show you. We got Hydrangea, House Wine. I love wine. I don't think I would drink wine that color. I do have standards. They are low, but they are there. Jelly Roll. I don't even know what to do with this. I want to. I don't know what I could stitch. That. I don't even know. Just Rust. I like that a lot. Heatherly. Jolly Holly, which makes me think of Kimberly Jolly, which makes me think of shopping. Jakey Brown. And Joshua Tree, which I also really like. And I feel like Rackstack. I think Rackstack called for Joshua Tree and I didn't have it, so I swapped it out with something. Now I have Joshua Tree. I am not restitching it. So the other things that I got are from Fire Poppies. And I didn't mean to place this much of an order with them. But I had a little thought while I was sitting there, probably avoiding thinking about things that I'm supposed to think about. I thought, we always have 40 count linen. Is there 40 count even weave? And so I went on a little Google journey and I ended up at Fire Poppies, and I now own, this is 40 count Verdal, Verdal. Verdal. It is 40 count even weave. They only seem to have it in this bright white, so I feel like I'm going to have to do some coffee tea dyeing on this. But I'm really looking forward to trying it. I'm going to tell you, it's a tight weave. It is not very see-through-y. I mean, it's not impossible. It's an even weave, so, it's worth a shot. So I ended up with that. But because I hate paying shipping and I needed to up my order, I also got myself some 32 count vintage country mocha, because you can never have too much vintage country mocha. I also got a couple more colors for CD Pumpkin Cottage. Slowly but surely, this thing is being kitted up. So I got 2 Weeks Dye Works brick and 1 clockwork. So I think this leaves me with 4 overdyes left to get. And I know that 2 of them are Onyx and Carriage Black, which have been woefully out of stock for quite some time. So we'll see how that goes. I wouldn't mind, but I know in my heart that I could sub those out. But the fact that they went so far as to use those 2 blacks tells me that they are, please tell me they are somewhat different. And they're used in a fair amount of the pattern. So I kind of don't want to just arbitrarily say, well, I'll just use, 310 or something like that and miss out on some really nice variegation. Give me your opinion. The other thing I got in this little bit of haul, but I already had to use it, was more moss for Roladex sampler. I must be very heavy-handed with that particular color because I did run out, only to the tune of like 1 6-strand length. I was short just by that amount, And I could totally see myself having, you know, overdone it by the amount of a length. So I think normal people should be okay with one skein of moss, but if you want to kit that up and be safe, I would say get the second skein of moss. I have recently been playing with Pattern Keeper more. Finally, I watched the video on how to import, grids that don't quite, that Pattern Keeper can't natively just pick up and figure out what to do. It will say, do you want to put the grids in yourself? And I was struggling with the grids and it never lined up. And then I found out it's because I was doing it completely wrong. Now that I can do it correctly, I want to pull in everything in the universe. But I was trying to pull in, is it Sarky Girl? Let me see. Sarcy, Sarcygurl. Her 2020 pandemic sampler. There's two versions. One's a color version and one's the black and white. I tried the color version first, and I think Pattern Keeper doesn't handle colored patterns. So it would just sit there and spin and spin and spin and spin. So then I tried to pull in the black and white version. And that, it like churns and thinks and, figures it all out. Don't you go near it. Dante. You leave Death by Cross Stitch alone. Oh, good. Are you coming to visit? Come on. People want to see you. People think I'm talking to nobody over here. Huh. My baby. Want to say hi? No. You're not here for our entertainment. But I love you. Okay, go about your business. And please stay away from Death by Cross Stitch. Anyway, it thinks and it churns and it does all kinds of things, and it pops up and says, does this have shaded area? And does this have a shaded area? And it's no to both. And so it pulls it in, but it takes the pages and makes them, I think 6 across rather than 3 and then 3, something like that. And I would have been perfectly happy to just, pull that in and make the grids myself, because now I know how to do it, but it doesn't seem to give me the option. It says, oh, I can read this, so I don't need your help. So is anybody else having trouble bringing that into Pattern Keeper? Because if we're all having trouble, that at least makes me feel like it's not a problem, because it's just not set up for that. And I can just use Microsoft Notes to mark off on the PDF and I'll be happy. But if other people are able to get this in here successfully and it's just me, well, then I need to fix that, because I would really like to use Pattern Keeper and I would really like to start this pattern. Like, I got any right to be starting anything. I haven't even pulled colors for it yet, but dang it, I want to start it. Of course, when I first started having trouble pulling it in, my first thought was, well, I should go to the Facebook group and see if anybody else is having this problem, this and that and the other thing. I did not find anybody else trying to pull it in, so nobody was really talking about it. But while I was at it, I was like, oh, I'll go, ask, search for the question in Stitch Mania. Only to read that Katie and Garrett are shutting down Stitch Mania. Oh my. I will admit that I am not on Facebook very often, and I haven't been to Stitch Mania in a while. And I totally get why they're shutting it down. And nobody has time to run something that big well, and they want to do it well. And I think they also want to try other things that are going to take up their time, and they're not going to have to, worry about this or their little talk show, getting in the way. So I get totally why they're doing it. But I was kind of heartbroken. This was sort of the place that you go. If we want to see what's going on, you want to see what people are talking about, Stitch Mania, that's your place to go. I understand that I think somebody is starting a new group that isn't associated with Katie or Garrett, If I can find the name, I'll put it up. And I guess they're saying that they will run it with the same type of rules that Katie and Garrett did, which is basically, unless you're being raging jerks to each other, talk about what you're going to talk about. If you want to swear, swear. If you want to show something off color, you want to show something, do it. They're not going to censor or police people until things start getting abusive. Which is good, because I think grown-ups need to learn to talk to each other and deal with, I don't think anybody should be rude, but I think in a way, you do yourself a favor by learning how to walk away from the jerks on the internet and not feed the trolls and things like that. That, speaking of trolls, there's a cat. She's walking on my projects. Don't walk on the projects. Dante, you're killing me. Killing me. But either way, I think of this as the end of an era. I think Stitchmania was probably the first Facebook group I ever joined of any topic. And I will hate to see it go, but I wish Katie and Garrett the best. And I thank them for taking such good care of us for all this time. Dante, no. Dante, no. Dante, no. Don't look at me. These are people things. They aren't things for you. Drink if you have parenting issues. All right, guys, that is about it for me. Hopefully it will not be another 2 weeks before I make another video, but if I do, don't worry about me. Usually I don't make a video because I either just slept and burned most of the day, or I don't have much to talk about or something like that, but I'm fine. You'll usually see me within 2 weeks. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes and even your dislikes. And thank you for your comments. I really do appreciate them, and I appreciate you. Thank you for being my community. Bye, guys.